Hi, folks.
Good
How we doing?
morning, afternoon,
morning.
or evening.
Depends on when you're watching or listening, I suppose, right?
Podcasts are those things that are created in time, and then they're,
Yeah, for us it's morning. That I can tell you.
And it's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, yeah.
And
yeah.
we're looking at the Module 2 pre-telegraphy proposals today.
Yes, absolutely.
So
yeah.
this, in case you're into the wrong channel, is IDT 507.
Yes, and we're gonna walk through a bunch of different topics when it comes to construction of connecting in theory, what kind of platforms you're using, the content, everything. Hopefully.
So one thing we should talk about first is that and we've commented probably in the discussion forum. I think they're commented now, but a couple of people
for Module 1.
For Module 1,
right.
The idea is the Module 2, 3, 4, and 5 all are about content,
right.
And you have to use some design to further your design skills to talk about that content.
Right.
So a couple of people forgot that.
Yeah, we'll say it that way. Yeah. It's just
or missed that. They didn't forget it. They just missed it. We didn't communicate clearly enough. So if you did that, then you fix that.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can fix that in Module 1, and we'll see a couple of Module 1 proposals that are still talking about, and they might be left over since our comments were late.
Right.
But yeah,
right,
obviously
right.
Module 1 has to talk about before the telegraph. Pre-telegraphy.
Module 2, yeah.
Module 2, the one that we're talking about.
Yeah,
now.
the first content module. Yes,
okay.
Module 2.
So let's look at your screen and we'll say with whoops.
Yeah, whoops. Yeah. So we're starting here with a GAF.
So if you don't find something, email works.
Yep.
There's a generalized forum, but it got buried in here.
Yep.
And whoops. And I saw it today.
Yes. So
we'll fix that.
Fixed. Yes.
But
probably by the time.
Does that mean that nobody's read Pred or? We don't know.
It sounds like maybe they could Google it maybe.
And
find something, but it does sound like
you're not going to find it.
It
was a PDF from a book that I had made.
Yeah, so
many years ago. Okay, so we'll fix that.
Okay.
I have it on my computer.
Yeah. All right, so you'll see Steve has constructed this slide.
So let's go to audience.
Okay, and you'll see the drop down. We jump to audience.
Yeah, we're not even going to talk about how this came about. Basically, what this is I used Blackboard. I opened up the discussion group. I can't show you my screen. I opened up the discussion group. I selected all the everything.
Yeah.
And collected all the methods, printed it to a PDF, and took screenshots of the text I could see. And my guess is that we're going to make specific individualized comments, but we're going to cover the basic ideas. And I didn't look at anyone that had links to their stuff.
Yes.
So, but this is a sampling.
Yeah.
So
it's
that's
just
what it is. But it will cover the concepts.
Themes we saw. Yeah.
So audience.
Yeah.
And I don't know who did any of these, so we're thanking students individually without revealing who they are.
Yeah.
I don't remember whose this was, but this was great because, like a lot of other people, this student addressed audience explicitly.
Right, and that's really important because what the actual output is going to be would vary wildly depending on if you were talking to experts in the field, people who are completely unfamiliar with it, children versus adults, all kinds of considerations that don't just mean what kind of content you're going to put in, but what kind of design considerations you have to make.
Yeah. So if you didn't mention the audience in your proposal, add it. You can go back and change your proposal, of course, but make sure it's very clear in the submission who your audience is.
Yeah.
And if you're reviewing and somebody says and you don't notice an audience, feel free to point that out in your review.
Absolutely. Definitely.
So let's jump to mock-ups.
Okay.
Sorry for the crazy slide. That's how the image came, but mock-ups are great.
Yeah.
I love to see pieces of paper scanned.
Absolutely.
It's always intriguing, so I kind of wanted to look at that. And
yeah.
Anyway, but thanks. And mock-ups are good, and I know a lot of people had links to mock-ups, which I haven't gotten a chance to look at for this presentation, but those are always really helpful.
Absolutely. It reminds me of some of the students who maybe were in my previous semester's class where I made them draw on napkins and stuff. So it's because it's a really good way to start, thinking about where you're going.
Pre-telegraphy, like there's still something special, I think, about writing by hand, and I'm really curious to know if there's cognitive differences, if your brain responds cognitively different to information that comes to it as you create through your fingers than typing.
Tactile and visual and all that stuff.
It should make a difference because it's different senses.
Yeah, I
don't
had
get it yet.
I had a thing I was trying to figure out where to put paragraphs in a chapter just yesterday, and so I couldn't figure it out. And so finally I just printed it out and laid them on the ground, literally on the ground, and like just kind of went like this. But it was something about changing the method of screen versus being able to pick it up in my hand. It changed everything. So I agree with that. Yeah, it's engaging different senses.
You need Tiddlywiki.
I might.
Okay, so there's the mock-ups.
Yes.
But yeah, let's jump into theory, because and these are kind of random in some respects, but it's great when people reference theory.
Yes. It's important for us to like, so just not just the pre-telegraphy, not just the eventual computing, the content, not just that kind of content, but the theory will also drive what you end up producing, and it goes beyond just saying I'm going to use uses and gratifications, which you have to. We talked about the split between maybe the two theories and what an affordance theory gives you, what it can benefit your inquiry about, and then uses and gratifications maybe is the opposite, where you're front loading the user versus the technology, and that all has to sort of be in there, right?
Like implicit in the content,
right.
Not, and so you'll see the first person on this slide mentions it, says correlates this one or that one, and that's almost. It's better than not mentioning it at all, but we still would like to see more in the proposal that says this is how I'm going to integrate that theory,
right?
Or at least a
or
reference
why,
to
maybe,
it.
because you've chosen one theory maybe over the other, and why? And that would get at the whole reason.
So on the next slide, first of all, I love the whoever did that. I love the concept because. Here's attaches my proposal, but here's the tweet. This is what you're getting into, and that's really nice to see. And I haven't clicked on the link yet.
Okay.
But I know enough.
Yes.
From that brief description that the project is going to be wonderful.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, what would be really interesting to see, and there's a comment portion of the project where you describe it, and so you might have to draw our attention to it explicitly. Say, so you notice how this characteristic of the job implies uses and gratifications theory.
Right.
So, like, if part of the job is to figure out how our users are doing and to do user studies, that must mean that you're a uses and grats person.
Right, exactly. Versus highlighting the the features of the
keep on tabs of the newest technologies and always figure out the newest way to use Twitter.
And that implies affordances.
That would be really interesting to see how that job posting comes out. And I think the idea of like a social media network developer for a site, I presume it's a non-digital site. I don't know. I don't know where you're heading from here, but anyway,
physical
I can't wait to watch
versus,
it. So that looks great. So let's jump over to what are we up to here? Content.
Okay.
Yeah, content. Because we saved methods for last, which is sort of design. Actually, call it design instead of methods.
Well,
Anyway,
it depends
content. Pre-telegraphy module, right?
Yes. That's where we're at.
Pre-telegraphy.
And
I don't know how else to say it.
It's kind of simple.
It's just pre-telegraphy. So the whoever said that they wanted to do a summary of Samuel Morse's revolutionary invention of the telegraph system. That
inherently is not pre-telegraphy.
Inherently is not pre-telegraphy. I think.
And if the good news is if you're interested, you'll have an opportunity
for the next module.
In telegraphy. So
there is a way, and I don't know who this is. I can't imagine that this means it, but there's a little side note, little known except for telegraph people like me. When the U.S. Congress was first saying, "Hey, we're going to build a telegraph," and they issued an RFP. They did for people saying, "Hey, you interested in building a telegraph? Let us know what you do, and we'll pick 1 or 2 or 3 and fund it." And they got like 12 proposals. 10 or 11 of them were for semaphoric telegraphs, flag systems, because that's all they had. And this 12th was from this guy named Morse. And he's going to do electronic telegraphy, and they'd never heard of it. And it's just a weird little thing. So if that's your intention, to do that little brief period of time,
which is technically pre-telegraphy.
It's the last chapter in the prehistory of the telegraph.
Right.
And I can point you to a very well-cited master's thesis that I wrote about precisely that period. That's why I know that. But you can take those little slivers of history.
Yeah, yeah.
And just that project came about because I wanted to do history.
Yeah.
And I wanted to work in an archive.
Cool.
So I went to an archive and I found that they had the records of the company.
Yeah.
And so I said, "Oh, okay.
That's what you'll do.
That's what I'll do."
Great. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Anyway.
well, I mean, I think what you're sort of getting at though is you could conceivably do something that has to do with what was missing in the
Right.
pre-telegraphic era.
Yeah.
That so you're sort of maybe thinking uses in Gratz theory and or maybe even the affordances of what wasn't afforded by the
that was pure affordance. Morse was
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
with electronics
Right,
and figuring
right,
out how to
right.
make
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
There was nothing that he said, but anyway, so that was
Yeah,
cool.
he
So
wasn't
the-
looking thinking of
yeah,
the
that's
user,
enough
yeah.
of all the rest of the content is fine, and
Yeah.
I don't want you to think we're not interested in it,
Right.
but we're not going to comment on it. It's like, okay, we're going to do the alphabet, we're going to do smoke signals, we're going to do this, and
Yep.
that. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So the methods, which I think I should have called design in retrospect,
It's okay.
and so what I did is I took little screenshots here of a couple sentences or so from a lot of different presentations about people describing what they're going to do, the
Yes.
design part.
Yeah.
And so if you could, as you do this, you don't have to go back and correct this, but
Right.
moving forward, begin to build in a description of your design technique and explain why you're choosing that design.
Right. Right.
And some of you did, some of you didn't. But it's and so then with some things like say PowerPoint, like I'm going to do a PowerPoint presentation, it's sort of like I'm going to use a Word document.
Yeah.
Because it's so ubiquitous. It doesn't give us a clue as to why or what you're going to do.
Right. If you just said, I'm going to write a paper, what does that even tell us about what
Right.
what it will look like in the end? Not a lot.
So if
what I
you're-
like what you're saying here, you know, when you're moving from PowerPoint to Prezi, well, then that would mean you need to understand what Prezi specifically adds from a design perspective that is distinctive from PowerPoint or something
But
like that.
because Prezi is sort of out there and not ubiquitous, it's
Right.
like, okay, I'm going to do Prezi, that's fine. But when you say I'm going to do PowerPoint, it's a little generic. If there's a good reason to do
Right.
PowerPoint, you want to learn a new feature in PowerPoint, you want to do PowerPoint in Word, I don't even know what version you're up to, Word, or you want to understand how PowerPoint works in Microsoft Office 365, and that's
yeah.
okay. Now you're exploring a design. So,
Yes.
and somebody wrote that they want to do PowerPoint because that's what they use at work.
Yeah,
That's fine.
That is, yeah, that's sort of what we're trying to say is we want you to tailor it to what will help you, but then we also want you to be front loading the design why and what does this tool provide you in terms of design that maybe another tool wouldn't, or maybe you haven't learned yet, or something to that effect. Yeah.
So in the blue highlighted
Yes.
slide there, that confused me a bit.
Yeah.
I don't really know, like a final critique available as a blog on the internet. This is kind of all over the place in terms of what they're going to do.
Yeah, because it goes from
and
Microsoft Word
yeah.
to Google Slides, and sort of the same things we were talking about is Google Slides is somewhat PowerPoint. I mean,
Right.
it doesn't do everything the PowerPoint does, but it looks and feels a lot like
It's
PowerPoint.
totally PowerPoint.
Yeah. It's just
At this
PowerPoint.
point, like 4 years ago, Google Slides was
Right.
like, oh, I'm going to do Google Slides, so I don't do PowerPoint.
Whoa,
Okay,
yeah,
that's
that's
cool.
different,
Like,
yeah.
what's different about it?
Right.
But now it's like, okay.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
the ringing of church bells piece, and
Yeah.
I picked out the notion of a website.
Yes. That it's maybe it's a theme
the same
that we're hitting
point,
on,
yeah.
is that a website is a general term that has come to stand in for quite a lot of different things, and so it's just maybe being a little more specific about what it will look like, what's the design features that you want to implement, and how what does that mean, a website?
Right. So
Yeah,
in '97, saying I'm going to build a website, so that's cool because
Right.
that's new in
Yeah.
a sense, and that's because I'm going to do something different.
Outside of the
but
assumed
now
norm, yeah.
we don't. Website is tough. It's an information place,
Yeah.
but so some more about what that is and why that would be.
Right, exactly.
And how you're going to build it. I mean, at this point, you're going to use like a Weebly or a Webflow, or you're going to build HTML from raw code. Like,
Right,
what are you
right.
going to do to build that website?
Right.
And the infographic was a good concept, but I was talking about the motives of the producer and the utility for the
Yeah,
audience as
yeah.
a design characteristic.
Yeah, it's an interesting. We're not really sure because because
the most information given in the smallest space in the least amount of time.
like,
Whose time?
Whose time? Yeah, that was, and maybe the idea is that the infographic sort of condenses and makes material concise.
Audience time.
Yeah,
I
so
think.
then I think it might be audience time, and that's actually an interesting concept. Is the delivery of information in the most efficient manner,
Measured by time.
Yeah, measured by time.
And smallest space, I guess it's like physical.
Right.
Size. That's
because I'm thinking of those infographics that extend like this. And at some point, it becomes like that's not really an infographic as much as it's just like a scroll.
But the smallest. That's an interesting spatial.
Right.
I mean, intrigue.
Yeah, economy of space.
Which is why I pulled that out. And the most information. So that's an intriguing sentence that I'd love to see more commenting on.
And that's the kind of stuff we're looking for. Is like not just an infographic, but like, okay, well, this is what I want to exploit about or understand about the infographic: economies of space, efficiencies of time.
Yeah.
You make that kind of stuff explicit because we'll get excited about it.
Yeah. Like the next one, Movely.
Movely, yeah. I don't even know what it is. Yeah.
There you go.
That goes back to like the is fair or not when we see website or Google Doc. Google Slides, we think, well, what we like get questioning about it. But Movely, we're like, I don't know what that is. Okay, great.
Yeah, so just make something up and it'll be fine. What I liked about this person's is they're going to do storyboards, and that's really helpful if you're going to do videos. Or anything, the stop motion animation. Those are all anything. Those storyboards are helpful. Here's another comment on the PowerPoint.
Yep.
And so just why? And the stop motion animation we talked about, that's really cool.
That's really cool. Yeah, we
brought
it in to think. We're wondering how much time that student has. Stop motion animation can take a really long time.
And you can make it small.
Absolutely. We're really intrigued.
If you've never done it, then great. Do the first 2 minutes. If that's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Blog again. Blog is another one like that. Website. It's a newer term than a website, but I no longer know what a blog is.
Right. It's like the website is defining it this generally. Blog went to this step, but we want to go to this step.
Yeah.
We want to know
really why. Why a blog?
What does the blog afford you in some ways?
Yeah, is it meant to be like a one visit? Is it something you continuously come back to? You're constantly going to update. A blog is very meaningless.
In its generality.
It just doesn't tell us anything about what it is. We talked about the job ad. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then the corollary to, or the opposite of a blog is Tiddlywiki, because again, like Movely, that's a tool that nobody knows how to use right now. So that means that you're using a toolkit.
Right.
And a toolkit that nobody uses is good to look at. A toolkit that everybody uses, like Microsoft Word, needs to have like, I'm going to use Microsoft Word and learn how to do style sheets.
Right.
And internal referencing. Okay, now you're doing Word. That's fine. But Tiddlywiki, never touched it.
And that's really narrow. Yeah. You really, we
and
understand.
same with Webflow.
Yeah.
What I liked about the comment in Webflow is that it actually addresses why Webflow, and that it forces a responsive design best practices.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for, is that front loading in your mind. I'm choosing this tool and why, in terms from an info design standpoint.
And then the last one, screenshot why blog. We already talked about that.
Yes.
So we don't need to talk about it. So there we go.
Yeah, great. I think hopefully we're being clear.
Not glib.
No.
But very helpful to have all these proposals. And I apologize for those who have links, which is perfectly acceptable that we didn't review them. But I have a hunch that most of the issues will be in the second half will be the same as the first half. So we'll respond. Thank you very much for watching.
Thanks.
See you again.
Bye.